everybody. Welcome to our Monday Addiction Recovery Support Group. My name is Kelly Kirk, and I am a peer support specialist in Richmond County, North Carolina. So, welcome to our group. I would love for anybody who comes on here to leave comments, or if you have suggestions, or if you want to comment on what the topic is or anything I say, feel free to type it in the comments right there. And I'll definitely acknowledge you and definitely put you in the conversation. And if anybody wants to join, there's a place on there for you to join, and we can both be on the screen at the same time. So I'm going to read our intro, which is: welcome to the Facebook Online Recovery Support Group, supported by the Sandhills Opioid Response Consortium. This is a forum where people in recovery can come together. We are here to encourage, support individuals in their recovery journey by sharing our own experience, strength, and hope. Our meetings consist of daily readings, meditations, devotionals, as well as open discussion. We ask that when sharing, you adhere to the rules of this page. All recovery paths are welcome. Please feel free to share your questions or comments throughout the meeting. So again, hey Shay, my name is Kelly Kirk, and I am a peer support specialist, which is someone in recovery themselves who is trained and certified to work with others who are struggling, other people that are going through addiction and who want to be in recovery, or people that are in recovery that just need some help, like maintaining or having some people to support them. That's what we're doing. So today I picked as our topic the power of positive thinking. And this was a big deal for me. This was a life changer for me, realizing that I could control my thoughts and that I didn't have to believe everything that flowed into my head, because I think all day long and all night long. My brain is just running, and I get all kind of crazy thoughts, things that aren't necessarily true, and positive ones, negative ones. And I grew up in kind of a critical, pessimistic family. I mean, it was a good family, but it wasn't a happy, positive family. And so it's only been like the last 4 or 5 years that I've really realized that I can be happy on purpose. Hi, Stephanie. So I found an article, because a lot of times I like to base these Facebook Lives on stuff that I've read. So today I picked from WebMD, what is positive thinking? And it says positive thinking, or having an optimistic attitude, is the practice of focusing on the good in any situation. So that means no matter what's happening to you, you're practiced in focusing on the good of that situation, whatever that situation is. And I know a lot of times that's hard if there's negative things going on, to on purpose focus on the positive, but it can really make a big difference in your life. And I know studies have shown that you're healthier if you have, yes, happiness is a choice, Stephanie. You're right. I agree with that. But you're happier in life and you're healthier if you have a positive outlook. I mean, they found that people live longer, they're healthier, they're like have stronger immune systems, they're less likely to get cancer or have a heart attack than people that are always looking at the bad and thinking the worst and assuming that everything bad is going to happen to them. And it's easy to focus on that, because that's usually like the strongest emotions that you get out of a situation is the negativity coming at you. It can sometimes be like overwhelming, and you, like for me, I have to on purpose make myself find positive in the situation. It says, this doesn't mean that you ignore reality or make light of problems. It means you approach the good and the bad in life with the expectation that things will go well. So, yeah, that means basically a positive outlook. When you go into your day, you're expecting good things to happen. And, I really believe that if you put out positive vibes, that attracts positive vibes to you. People want to be around happy people. Nobody wants to be around a downer, or someone that's pessimistic and scoffing at everything. People want to be around people that are positive and uplifting and happy, and it's good to be that kind of person. Even if you're not naturally that way, you can practice and become that way, and you'll be happier. Like, there's really no downsides to being happy. Okay. Yeah, I can see how that could happen. I mean, when you're bitter and angry, that has an effect on you, It's like it wears on you, and it makes life heavier and dark and just like not good, you know. It says the mental benefits of being positive are may include being more creative, greater problem solving skills, clearer thinking, better mood, better coping skills, and less depression. And I know for me, at several different points in my life, depression was a big problem. And I'm quite sure that back then I wasn't trying to focus on the positive, And if only I'd known back then that that was a choice. I didn't have to feel. I mean, when I was clinically depressed, that wasn't a choice. But everything surrounding that, if I would have tried to, yeah, just float, man, like that. Yeah, just float, just chill, just take it easy, relax, take it all in, and just make the best of it. That's all we can do is make the best of it. It says, if you're naturally more of a pessimist, thinking positive is something you can learn. If you practice it, it will eventually become second nature. And when you start to realize that you are happier overall, you will want to do it even more. So, yeah, I noticed that when I started trying to think positive, it didn't like happen automatically. Like, I had to like practice, and be like, no, wait a minute, it's all right, like chill out, this person's not out to get you. Or if you're in a restaurant and the waitress is rude, and you're like, it's easy to take that personal, like, get offended real easy. But like, I've learned in my old age that it's like it probably has more to do with what's going on with her than what she actually thinks about you. It's she's probably having a bad day, or she's going through a hard time, and that's probably why it's leaking out and coming across as her being rude. I mean, of course there are rude people out there, but that purposely want to hurt you. But I think more times than not, it's that that person is struggling or suffering or hurting, and then it's, they're lashing out at you, or they're hardened and they've got their own problems. So I think taking that into consideration has helped me a lot to just kind of chill. Um, yeah, I mean, I can remember my motto used to be like, don't don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up, because if you get your hopes up and then it doesn't work out, you'll be depressed. But if you have your hopes down and something good happens, then you'll be surprised and happy. I live by that. I mean, it makes sense. If you don't get your hopes up, then you can't be crushed because your hopes were never up. And then if your hopes are never up and something good happens, then you'll be pleasantly surprised. But it's really better to live with your hopes up, I think, because you're going to have a better experience day to day. You're going to be happier. And I really do think that you draw positivity and happiness when you're in a good way, when you're in a good mood. Stephanie says she has to live life on life's terms, but I choose to be happy. That's beautiful. I like that. Yeah, I mean, it is a choice. You have to choose to be happy. You have to want to be happy. And sometimes, like, everything's not perfect in your life. but you can still choose to be happy. I mean, if you wait till everything's perfect, that's never going to happen. Everything's never going to be perfect. So if you live through life and be happy even though you're going through things, it's going to be easier on you, and you'll probably learn and become wiser if you go through something tough and you remain and you keep your good attitude even though you're going through something tough. You're going to probably learn something from that experience and take it with you, in your next experience. So it says the first thing you got to do is nix the negative. Before you put positive thinking into practice, look for any negative thoughts that may be running through your mind. That's totally how I used to be. These include, the first one is a bad filter. Do you overlook the good things about a situation and get wrapped up in the negatives? For example, you enjoy a fun dinner out with friends, but the restaurant gets your bill wrong at the end of the night. You leave feeling annoyed and frustrated, forgetting about the good time you had. That's easy to do. If you don't check your mood, I mean, you can let something small just ruin your whole mood, and then that memory is going to be like a negative memory. You got to be like, that's okay. You know what? I mean, I think it's okay to be upset for a minute, but when you hold on to it and you let it affect your mood, that's when, you got to think about maybe changing that. I mean, everybody's going to get upset or let down or hurt. But I think it's how quick you get over it and you just kind of put it in its place and move on. The second one is taking the blame. Do you tend to take on the blame for something bad or disappointing that happens? For example, a friend declines an invitation from you. So you assume it's because she doesn't want to spend time with you. Taking the blame, yeah. I mean, that's like assuming the worst, assuming that you're not good enough. Why would she decline the invitation except that she doesn't like you? But really, it could be something innocent. She could have something else she's got to do that day. And that could ruin your whole day if you start thinking and imagining that it's the worst case scenario. It's like small things like that, I think, that affect our whole day. Okay, the third one is predicting disaster. This means you have one setback and then expect the worst to happen. For example, your car won't start in the morning, so you think the rest of your day is destined to be doomed. Yup, guilty. Yeah, that happens to me all the time. I mean, even still, it's easy. You're like, okay, that's it. My whole day's ruined. I might as well just go back to bed. I had one setback and it was really affected me, and I'm going to let it ruin my day. And it's easy to do that. It's almost easier to do that than to say, no, wait a minute. I fixed this problem. Let's move on. I'm still going to have a happy attitude. I'm still going to be looking forward to the rest of my day. And the last one is black and white thinking. Do you see things as either good or bad with no middle ground? In this mindset, if things aren't perfect, they're automatically bad. When you notice a negative thought, try to stop it and shift your focus to the positive. Think rationally about the situation. If it helps you to let go, you can give yourself and those around you grace. You can still hold them accountable for your actions. So I think what they're saying here is seeing things as either good or bad with no in between. So if they're not perfect, they're automatically bad. And when you notice a negative thought, try to stop it and shift your focus to the positive. I think rationally is really good advice, because I think we tend to let our emotions dictate our mood, and we tend to go with our feeling. If I feel like, this is a bad thing, then I'm going to let it be a bad thing. But if I'm like, you know what, this does feel kind of bad, but on purpose, I'm going to shift my focus and choose to be happy. Because I think, again, like Stephanie said, happiness is a choice. It's not something that automatically happens. It's like, for me, if you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, my back hurts, you can let that turn into my back's really killing me, I'm gonna have a terrible day, and then you get up and you're like, oh, you know. But if you wake up and you say, yeah, my back hurts, but you know what? I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful that I have so many good people around me and I have good things in my life and I have things to be thankful for. That's automatically going to change your tune right there on the spot. And it's going to allow you to not be a slave to those negative emotions. It says your negative thoughts won't go away overnight, but with practice, you can train yourself to have a more positive outlook. Remember, you aren't overlooking the facts. You're just including those that are good. How to practice positive thinking. Once you have a handle on negative thinking, it's time to play up the positive. Try these ways to do it. Smile more. In a study, people who smiled or even fake smiled while doing a stressful task felt more positive afterwards than those who wore a neutral expression. You'll benefit more if the smile is genuine, though. So look for humor and spend time with people or things that make you laugh. I think that's an important point. Humor. You got to be able to laugh at yourself. You got to be able to not be so serious and think that you have to be perfect. You really got to be able to make it light, and make a joke. And once you laugh and everybody laughs, it kind of like diffuses the situation and lightens the mood. And, humor can be a really good thing. And I like how they say too, even if you have to fake a smile, because I found that even if I fake a smile, I start feeling good inside. It's like your feelings are going to follow what you decide. If you decide to smile and be happy, pretty soon you're going to start feeling happy. And I think that works the opposite way. If you decide that things are bad and it's, your day's ruined, then you're going to start feeling that way too. It's like one thing that was like an epiphany for me was that I control my mood. And my emotions don't control me. I'm not going to let them control me anymore. I have to think logically, look at the facts, choose to be positive, and then everything else kind of falls in behind that. My mood, the way I feel. Yeah, like Shay said, just breathe right on through. Okay. The second one is reframe your situation. When something bad happens that's out of your control, instead of getting upset, try to appreciate the good parts of the situation. For example, instead of stressing about a traffic jam, recall how convenient it is to have a car. Use the time that you're stuck behind the wheel to listen to music or a program you enjoy. Change your thinking. Think about something good on purpose to change the channel in your mind. And I think that's a good analogy because everybody gets frustrated when you're in traffic. You're cruising along, you're like, you're going to get there on time, and all of a sudden, traffic's backed up. That's a perfect excuse to get in a bad mood. Like, damn, And that is me. I will do that. I'll be like, damn. But then I'm like, you know what? It's all right, man. I'm going to put on my music, and I'll just jam my music all the way up. Who can be in a bad mood after that? But I think it is something you have to do on purpose, and it takes practice. I think it's a matter of catching yourself. If you're just used to going with your feelings, you have to kind of realize that you're starting to think a certain way and then be like, no, wait, I'm going to correct that. I'm going to think about the fact that I have a car, and be grateful for that. Keep a gratitude journal. This may sound cheesy, but when you sit down each day or each week to write down the things you're thankful for, You're forced to pay attention to the good in your life. A study found that people who kept gratitude journals felt more thankful, positive, and optimistic about the future. They also slept better. If you feel yourself getting in a bad mood, stop and name a couple things you are grateful for. It gets your mood off your mind and makes you stop and realize that there's a whole lot of things that are going right. Picture your best positive possible future. Think in detail about a bright vision for your future, career, relationships, health, hobbies, and write them down. When you imagine your life going well, research suggests you'll be happier in the present. Plus, having goals is a good thing. If you've got something in mind that in the future that you want to work towards, I think when you get in a bad place emotionally or mentally, if you think about your goal, that can kind of refocus you and get you back on the right track. Because I know for me, it's really easy for me to get lost in my mind and start thinking back and start thinking about what if this happens, or, what if this happens, or what if I can't handle it, or what am I going to do, or what's going to happen to me, all that stuff for me is like, that's a danger sign. That means I am not thinking right. That means I need to refocus, focus on my goals, how far I've come, and my steps that I need to take to get to my goals. I think it's really important to have goals because it keeps you on your path. When things come at you from the right, from the left, and you get knocked off course for a second, if you've got a goal path that you're following, you can always come back to your path and have your vision in sight, and that kind of helps you from going down the wrong road. Focus on your strengths. Each day for a week, think about one of your personal strengths, like kindness, organization, discipline, or creativity. Like, for example, Stephanie is really good at organizing. I've noticed that. Shay is super creative. So those are just like some of the strengths I see in you guys. And Angela, I don't really know you enough to know all your strengths, but I think you have a powerful story. And the way that you tell it is really nice. I like the way that you story tell. So, anyway, sorry. Focus on your strengths. Write down how you plan to use that strength in new ways that day. Then act on it. People in a study who did that boosted their happiness and lowered their symptoms of depression at the end of the week. 6 months later, those benefits were still going strong. Every one of us has good things about us. Sometimes we don't see them, but they are there. And I think sometimes in recovery, we get focused on what's wrong with us, and we focus on all our faults and how we've struggled and how we're different from other people. And we might maybe try to tend to forget that we have strengths, that we have good things about us. Where I think people in recovery are more compassionate towards others. We can relate to people more. We're more, genuine, and we feel empathy because we've been there. We know how it is. And I think that's why it's so important that we lift each other up. So, yeah, focus on your strengths. And so the other things I had was just some notes that I wrote of things that I do, or things that I found that have helped me focus on the positive and be positive. And I think I touched on a couple of them, but one of them is let things slide more. Like Shay was saying, you got to just breeze on through. You got to just remember that happiness is a choice, and, take it easy. Just, don't get yourself all worked up and all upset, and just kind of slow down and enjoy your life. I think that's really important. If you're trying to be positive, you can't be doing a million things at once. And I know that society thinks that being a multitasker is a good thing, but I think maybe in recovery, trying to do too many things at once can be overwhelming. And you're probably not going to do your best at any one of those things. If you've got all these things going on, it might be better just focus on one or two and do your very best at those things. And that way you're not getting overwhelmed and frustrated with having all this stuff to do. If you like break it down into easier to manage pieces, um, cut things out of your life that bring you down. Yeah. Um, if you've got some things in your daily life, people or activities that you dread or you're not looking forward to, or people that when you get around them they just like you're just like you know if there's a way that you can avoid that, I think that helps to give you a better chance at being positive. Adjust your schedule and make sure that you're not wasting your time on things that are unfruitful. This is something I've recently learned from Joyce Meyer. Actually, I talk about her a lot because she's like one of my mentors, even though she doesn't know it. But I get a lot of good stuff from her. And she talks about making sure that you're not spending a lot of your effort and time on things that aren't producing any good fruit for you. If you're just spinning your wheels or wasting your time on things that are never going to come of anything, then maybe you could cut those out. Um, let's see. I think the last thing is just to do fun things, even if it's just for 5 minutes, go through the drive through and get an ice cream cone or a milkshake if you're having a hard time, or, you're trying to get your mood up, or, play your favorite music in the car. Like, music is like magic. It moves you, and I know for me, if I'm in a bad mood and I hear a song that I love, I just crank it up and you can just feel the good vibes. Music is always a good thing. And that, my friends, is about all I have for today. So thank y'all very much for coming. Thank you for all your comments and your support. And I will talk to y'all later. Have a good day.